If you just tuned in, this is Advocate Broadcasting Network, ADBN Television, and this is a Morning Express. This is our current affairs and political show. We are at the second half of the show, and this morning we'll be exploring the Federal Capital Territory in some midterm assessment and, of course, review. To join me on the show this morning virtually from Abuja, we have Mr. Gbenro Olajuibe, who is the Executive Director, Emergency and Risk Alert. A very good morning to you, Mr. Gbenro.
Very good morning to you too and your crew.
How are you doing today?
But fine. I don't know why the voice is not loud enough.
Okay.
I guess from your side.
Okay, I'm sure that will be worked on very quickly. However, let's get to the conversation. 2 years in office of the Federal Capital Territory Minister, talking about Barrister Nyesom Wike. What will be your own, if you have to give us a score line, what will be your own scoring of the minister so far, and why?
Well, let me say that Mr. Wike has discharged his job to some extent creditably well. When it comes to physical urban development, he has done that. But in the area of impacting on human resources, he has done very poorly, because I don't need to tell you how teachers have been on strike in all the area councils, and at the same time in all over the FCT. So when you look at it and you look at the priority, I think he has prioritized what is tangible in terms of what people can see. But then in democracy, and in the race of raising a decent, humane society, the intangible are the issues that count. So in the area of education, there is nothing to write home about. And the area of health, of course, he has not optimally performed. So I can see what he has done when you travel around the FCT. Of course, to that extent, I will give him maybe 60% performance.
All right, 60% performance. That's at least above average. Let's look at the developments. We will definitely come into the intangible, just like he said. But let's look at the tangible developments so far. Of course, some projects ready for completion, for inauguration. Before the end of this month. For you, this
please, can you be louder?
Okay, for you.
Can you be louder?
Can you hear me better right now?
Well, it's getting better.
Okay, I'm very sure it will get better before I'm done with the question. So what I'm trying to ask is, with the infrastructural development that we've seen so far, within the 2 years of his stay, what do you think about positioning Abuja, as being the Federal Capital Territory and, of course, the capital of a nation like Nigeria?
Yeah, on the outlook, I think his work in physical development is a top notch, and of course Abuja, in terms of how it looked before Wike and now, there's a significant difference in terms of the planning arrangement. But then let me equally say that the only missing point in this interaction is that there must be a humanistic approach to planning or executing issue of urban development. I have had issue with sudden revocation of permit the FCT have given to some people, even when they are not using those places for public interest. So it should work on that so that that will not spoil the work, the physical development work he has been doing.
Now, talking about revocation of permits, like you mentioned, I'm very sure
Hello?
that. Hello, I see you're not using. Hello, can you hear me? I see you're not using hands-free.
It's not clear. I can't hear you clearly. It's not loud enough. But you can hear me.
Is it possible to get an earpiece or something? Because my technical guys are telling me.
Earpiece. If you see me now, I just park somewhere. I say, okay, let me take this.
This is quite unfortunate. I will try as much as I can be audible, but I can tell you that it's no technical fault of ours from the studio. So as I was saying, you were talking about revocation of permits, and I am saying if we look at the town plan, of course Abuja had a town plan, you know, from the beginning. Wouldn't you think that some of these revocations is in order to bring to bear, you know, the original plan of the Abuja metropolis? I've heard the AMMC chairman actually talk about trying as much as possible to bring back the original master plan Abuja. And so with the revocation of permits, don't you think it's the way to go to getting this done?
Yeah, every minister, as they come, they continue to talk about original plan of Abuja. But all those things are badadash. They are not talking to the fact of it. The fact is that they want to control the land. That is the basic thing. There's nothing. I'm not doubting. There may be exception, but it's not as bad as they are painting it.
But do you believe that there is a master plan?
Look, vested interest of stripping some people of their land and their assets, possibly reallocating that to some other people. So that one is playing the major part in the politics of land in FCT. So let that be clear. Wike is not the first minister that is doing that. Other minister of FCT, they have talked of master plan and every other thing. Anyway, the one that actually built Abuja and given shape to the original master plan was JTU Oseni, the one that recently died, Jeremiah Oseni under Basha. He tried to comply with that plan, and he defined definitely where gardens should be, where parks should be, where other amenities should be. But all other ministers have invested political interpretation to the so-called master plan. They can wake up today and just who issue permits to those who build most of the houses. Some in Katampe area and other part of the capital city. The fact is that the talk about master plan has become a tool for blackmail in order to justify illegality in most cases. So some is born out of witch hunting, born out of course, if you issue permit to people to go ahead and build their house and you demolish it, you must not only compensation you should pay up to what he has done on that building, because their so-called competition is infinitesimal part of what the owners have spent in most cases. So when they talk of master plan, I know where they are going and I will know where they are coming from. Why don't they, if they are talking of master plan in most cases, why are they afraid of waiting for court? Because they do all these things in defiance to the rulings of court. High courts have ruled severally that you should hold on this, and they won't, and they go ahead and demolish. So you can't build a city or implement a master plan. Master plan is an element of policy that looks like law, regulating issue of land use. And if you are using lawlessness to achieve that end, to that extent, it shouldn't stand.
Now let's
So if you believe it's about master plan, okay, go and prove it to the people in court, because we should be sensitive to how people now make their money to the extent they invested in building, and you go ahead and demolish that.
now we know that
plan can be interpreted in court whether there is a breach of master plan or not. It doesn't give how many people in Abuja know even the every minister, like I said, they should just interpret the so-called master plan based on their vested interests.
Just sometime last week, we saw the chairman of the AMMC, move around the town, and of course, some demolitions were underway. And the reasons for those demolitions has been the fact that some of these buildings were placed on waterways. Now, in the federal capital in Abuja, we know that one of the major challenges we've had is the issue of drainage system. When the floods are coming, when the rain begins, you know that most places, even hybrid areas in Abuja, seem not to be passable because of the issue of flooding, as we see. Now, the minister has berated some residents who built illegally on waterways, not minding the fact that some of these approvals were given not by this administration but by administrations to come. So what do you have to say about him carrying out some of these demolitions, and of course berating the residents that have done this, even some of them not even getting approval?
Well, let us be clear. It doesn't matter the governments that give approval. Government is government. Whether government of Obasanjo, Yaradua, Jonathan, Buhari, any government that as far as is confirmed that is given by government, such approval is valid indeed and valid in law. But the issue is this. Let me ask this question. In the era of climate change, where can you categorize as not a waterway? We are very funny in this country when we want to do evil. How many research have been carried out to ensure the retention capacity of the soil of Abuja? If that has been done, what effort has been made in terms of considering maybe underground drainage where possible, rather than making ordinary people, so, though most of them are rich too, ordinary people to pay for inability and inefficiency of government to ensure proper plan without putting assets of private people in jeopardy. That is what is going on elsewhere in the world, except where it is absolutely impossible to save a private asset. Then demolition can be accepted as the last option. But then what has government done to even look at the drainage pattern of Abuja, where there was drainage before and where there was no need for drainage before? Today there is need for drainage because of the pattern of rainfall, because of the intensity of rainfall, because of the retention capacity of the soil to accommodate waters. So all those things are issues that can be researched on, that can be done in order to save a society and enhance urban planning. Not that you wake up and every day, there might not be waterway in your area today. Tomorrow, it can happen. And regularly, due to intensity of rainfall, due to all these things, they are related to climate change. That is why I'm saying that even if you have to carry out this thing, demolition, if you are not able to afford the people underground drainage, if you have to do that, then it must be humanistically done. There is what you call humanistic planning, taking into consideration the concerns of the people, the aspiration of the people, the challenges people are facing. And let me equally tell you that it's not even within the Abuja alone. There are some poor people houses along Airport Road that have been demolished recently too, in a community that have been demolished, and many of them under the guise that they were shanties. So at times I laugh when they call this. This is an affront on poverty. Is not, you are not, well, if you are poor, you are not a criminal. It's not a crime to be poor. They can be helped if you want to do that, and give them a prototype that poor people can afford, whether it's 1 bedroom or all those things, but properly built, rather than putting a lot of people and rendering them homeless. And the consequence of that is that when they are unable to find a space to live, they become criminals in most cases, because they have to vent their anger on society that have deprived them of their property, that have stripped them of their assets, that have rendered them homeless, and that they have rendered even their children schoolless. So it's a chain, there is a chain reaction when we do this thing. That is why deeper consideration should be given to them. Many people have been, they are depressed today because of what government has done to them, and they have no capacity to overcome that or recover from the shock. So all these things must be considered when we are carrying out a decision. It's not enough to say that you are beautifying a city. If the people of the city remain unbeautified, well, you can have it today, but tomorrow there were others who are hungry, but you won't know. You might not immediately know why they are doing it. May end up destroying what you are building. Recently, you had the issue of people removing all the iron in Abuja, whether it is manholes, everywhere they are removing it. And it is most likely to be people that have been impoverished, and they have no feeling for the society where they live again, or for society they feel that have thrown them out of existence, literally.
Now let's look at still the issue of now let's look at the issue of open grazing in the Federal Capital Territory, as we also look at the facing of the Capital Territory. The minister has come out to say there should be some sort of caution in handling these matters. What's your opinion on this?
Why is he exercising caution? That is the most despicable thing to do in Abuja. In fact, there were people, a group of fathers in Gwarimpa about a week ago, in front of Hmedis along the 3rd Avenue side of 2nd Avenue side of Gwarimpa. They were even prepared to attack people with a knife that they were carrying. Although a passerby police was able to arrest one of them when they were pursued and they couldn't carry out such a nefarious activity. The fact is that it's an eyesore. And if you surely mean to recover Abuja, recovery planning is not about physical building alone. If you want to restructure Abuja, it must go into the behavioral pattern of those who live in Abuja. Abuja shouldn't be a city that everywhere will become open grazing site. So it should be controlled. As long as you have to be, what you should do is to meet with people. Some states are trying to control it, and we should equally lead by example. If you are saying that they should build ranch and everything, FFCT it can now decide, as it's called Mr. Project, to establish ranches, maybe one to start with, in each of the development area of Abuja, in each of the council area, so that these centers can be taken there. Then it can now begin to enforce the law that is against open grazing, if there's anyone or another one in Abuja, in order to preserve the sanity of the city, of the Federal Capital Territory. So it can be done. You don't need to be given a excuse if you are demolishing others' houses, demolishing businesses and everything, and you cannot control movement of cows across the city. Some people have been involved in accidents because of the activities of these unguided herders.
Now, in wrapping up this segment of the show, what would be your own some kind of encouragement or your own call to the FCT minister as it goes into the second half of his 4-year tenure?
Well, let me clearly state that no minister is tenured. So the assistance is at the pleasure of the president. The president can decide to remove him today or anytime. But let me equally advise that he should face Abuja and play the cantankerous behavior should be reduced, because he should see himself as a leader. There is pattern of behavior for leaders. The language of leaders, in fact, it's written by Jefferson. There's a book written by Jefferson. I used to have a copy, I don't know where. The language of leaders, there's a way leaders speak and everything. It doesn't matter what you do, but then at the end of the day, your humanity should be protected, your humanity should be projected, and your humanity should be of concern for you. And that is my advice for the FCT minister. But let us equally know that he was able to do most of these things by changing the policies and laws in the federal capital. Some of them were done lawlessly too, let me say, at the pleasure of the president. Because it wasn't given that FCT will have federal service of its own, but it has been granted. I have no problem with that as long as they lead to development. I am just trying to do this, say this because we should know the standard we use to judge the FCT minister. For physical development, he has tried his best, but for human capital development, he has failed extensively, because most of the children cannot go to school because of such failure. Teachers on strike, and of course, nurses have been on strike. They had been on strike before the teachers soon. So those are elements that I categorize as intangible. It should face such area. At the end of the day, most of this road will wash off, but then if there are no people to build them in future, leaders should not think of applause of today. It should look beyond today and see what people will say about him tomorrow when he's not even there to defend himself again.
All right.
So today, I think that will be my advice for him for now.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Agbenro, and thank you for joining us in the conversation today. We really appreciate
It's
you.
a pleasure being with you.
Thank you.